Hello, everybody. It's the old bear from the old bear's den of Bigfoot. We are back here today. To do another encounter, give you another account of Bigfoot. This one comes to you out of Oregon. And it's a famous mountain slash volcano in Oregon. I'm not going to tell you the mountain. I'm not going to tell you what, I'm not going to get, I'm just letting you know that it's a famous one in Oregon. Now, this guy, he is a truck driver, and some buddies of his talked him into going to Oregon to go and hunt Roosevelt elk with a rifle. This guy's a truck driver. And he works for a certain company whose colors are blue, yellow, and white. I'm not saying the name. Anyway, he goes to Oregon. There were supposed to have been 6 of them that went. Ended up being 3. 3 of them couldn't get the time off, or some personal issue came up for 3 of them. Boy, were they lucky. They didn't have to go. Anyways, they get to Oregon. First day, he hunts where his buddies tell him. Doesn't see anything. Day 2, he goes back to where his buddies tell him to go, and he walks his tail off. Getting in there, walks his tail off, hunting around in there, comes out, and on day 3, he said, I'm not listening to you guys. I found an area I want to go to, and I want to go there. You got your own vehicle. You do what you want, man. We were just trying to help you out, because you're not much of a hunter. And the only hunting this person had before going was hunting for squirrels when he was a kid. He hasn't hunted for well over 10 years. He was a teenager when he quit hunting because he got involved in girls and playing basketball and football and sports, and he never had time to do anything. So he goes to this famous mountain in Oregon, and he drives up one of the Forest Service roads, turns off on another Forest Service road. It takes him maybe over to the base of the mountain, and there's a road behind a gate, a trailhead, and he walks out it. Now, when he's walking out it, he's finding on the sides of the road where the elk have been in there rubbing their antlers against trees. Now, he's never seen an elk live. And he's looking around and he's finding elk tracks, and he's not finding, he found a bear track, and he was just amazed by the bear track. So he goes out to where this area where it's really open, because in Oregon, in places, they clear cut one side of a hollow, or if you're here from the east, it's a hollow out there, it's a ravine. And they'll leave the opposite side uncut. And they'll replant trees on the side that they timbered. And at that point, I thought I saw a snowflake, but it's not that cold. Oh, I don't know what it is. It's one of them little seed pods. Falls out of the trees this time of year. Anyways, he is doing, his level best to find an elk. He has a elk tag, but it has to be a bull. It has to have a fort. It has to have 4 points on one side. It's a restriction that they do out west. And as he's walking along, he sees what he thinks is the backside of an elk. He sees something that has the coloring of a chocolate-colored elk. And that's what he thinks. That's what's in his head. Remember, he's basically a rookie. And, he doesn't have wife, kids, all this stuff. He's a younger guy. He's in pretty good shape. And he's all excited. He thinks he sees an elk. Well, this elk starts moving through the trees across the ravine holler from him. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. So he throws his rifle up and he shoots. First he told me, he said, I pulled out my rangefinder and it said it was 232 yards from him to this elk. He's never shot that kind of distance before. His rifle sighted in, said his buddies helped him sight his rifle in, and it sighted in at 1.5 inches high at 100 yards. Well, at 232 yards, he still has to aim. He has to find the shoulder, because when deer are on the ground, elk's a deer, you have to shoot him behind the shoulder. And he's looking, and he flips the safety off a couple of times, once, and flips it back on, and then flips it off, and then flips it back on, and he didn't flip it back off. Well, he gets all excited and squeezes the trigger inadvertently. He's got his finger in the trigger guard and squeezes the trigger. Of course, that rifle's going to go off. And it's a pretty big rifle. It's a 338 Rum. They're pretty expensive. Thank God he missed. At this point, he's looking at this thing from a distance and over 200 yards away. And this thing takes off running downhill. And near the bottom of the ravine is where the trees stop on that side, which there's a creek to cross. There's some big rocks in the creek. And then you have to come up the side of the hill that he's on, which has got, they just timbered it. There was little pine saplings all over this hill. And there's leftover tree debris on the ground, and treetops and stuff like that. And when this thing steps out at the bottom of the ravine, out of the wood line, he's like, "Oh my God, what the heck?" And he didn't say what the heck, but I'm saying what the heck did he just shoot at? He said it looked like a giant with hair all over it. He said, I didn't wait around to see how cute or ugly it was. He said, I immediately spun on my one leg around and started running down the road. Now he's got half a mile out or more to run back to, I think it's closer to 2 miles to run back. And he takes off running. He doesn't look to see if this thing is going to finish the charge. He doesn't care. He just knows he's getting the heck out of Dodge, because if he doesn't, he's dinner. He knows that in his heart. His mind's screaming at him, it's going to eat us. It's going to eat us. And he's just, he's running as hard as that man can run. Now, he's not in great shape. He's a truck driver. I'm in good shape for a truck driver. Not. But don't let the belly fool you. I still got what I need to know up here. Anyways, after about half a mile, the man is wore out. He stops to take a breath. And he turns around with his rifle like this. And he turns around. He's standing there breathing real heavy. He's out of breath. And this thing comes around the curve in the road. Now, he's running on gravel, not loose gravel, the fine gravel that they put on top to make a road out there, where they can run log trucks down it. And this thing just runs around the curve. And it's running on the edge of the road to where if it needs to, it can dive off the side. And as soon as he sees it, all of a sudden he's got a second rush of adrenaline. This man is running. He said, I don't know how far I ran, but I got to the hill that breaks down and goes down to where my truck was parked on the other side of the gate. He said, I couldn't have been no more than 150 yards from my truck. And he said, I had to stop. He said, I fell to my knees. He said, I'm so lightheaded that he just, he doesn't have any air in his lungs. He's drained of physical strength, and he's wore out. He then heard a scream. Yeah, if you guys could see my wife's face at that point. Yeah. And he says, instantly, I jumped up, turned around, knowing this thing's going to come after me and kill me. And he said, he doesn't know why he done it. He just let go of the rifle. This thing's done chased him for 1.5 miles, 2 miles. And at the last 150 yards from your truck, you drop a rifle? No, don't do that, people. So he runs down the hill and makes it to his truck. The key's in his pocket, and he jumps in, pulling the key out at the same time. And it's a push start vehicle. So he puts his foot on the brake, pushes the start, throws it in drive, and spins out of there. Now he's left a super expensive $1,200 rifle without the scope on it, laying in the middle of the road back up the bank. So he makes it back to where the guys are staying. They're not there. They're out hunting. This is 3-4 o'clock in the evening when he gets there, and said he just went in the shower, sit down in the tub, and just let the shower beat on him because he was so exhausted, dehydrated from running that long. So his buddies come in well after dark, and he's like, guys, I'm going home. I'm going to leave tomorrow morning. And they start talking to him, and they're like, he tells them what happened, and they're all like, Yeah, we'll go back in the morning. We'll go with you. We'll get your rifle. It'll be laying in the same spot, birds.
A limb fell
Oh.
out of the tree.
Anyways, they're doing the guy thing. So he goes and they go back the next morning. Now, they had pretty much had to drag him to a truck and put him in between them to keep him in the truck. Um, they get, excuse me, didn't mean to yawn. They get back over there. They walk up that little bit of a hill, about 150 yards up. There's no rifle. They said, "Are you sure this is where you left it?" And they start looking around, and they find that Magnum caliber rifle, and there's nothing wrong with the stock on it, but the barrel, look, is bent back down, touching the top of the scope. Looks like a U. It takes a lot of strength to do that. So, they're kind of thinking maybe he was right. And they're like, well, let's get ready. Let's get out of here. We found your rifle. You just fell and bent it, and that's what happened. And they're trying to blow it off until this thing screams. No more than 100 yards from them. So clearly you can see them. And the three of them take off running back to the truck. And he's got his rifle, and they get in almost. The first guy jumps in, he's the driver, and he's supposed to be on the passenger side to get in, to sit in the middle, or somewhere in the back. I don't know if it was a club cab, extended cab, or one like mine, a crew cab. I have no clue. I don't know. Because it wasn't his truck, or his pickup. So they got in. He starts to go around the passenger side, and a rock comes flying out of the woods. It hits the ground right behind him and rolls up, and hits him in the back of the leg. Well, that rips his pants as it rolled off to his, because it hit him in the back right leg. He's still got the scar today. He showed me. And the other buddy grabs him, picks him up, throws him in. He's bleeding. His pants are ripped. He's holding on to what was left of his rifle. The bullets are still in it. None of them gone. Just the rifle bent into a U. They tear out of there. They leave. They get back to the motel, and all three of them drove home. So, tell me what you think. Why was that Bigfoot so persistent in chasing this guy? You would, in my experience, if you did not shoot the Bigfoot, and he said he knows he clean missed it because, that big of a caliber rifle, he'd have grazed it and it blew half the arm off. Or do they think? Anyways, let me know what you think. And I hope each and every one of you had a very thankful and happy Thanksgiving. Bye now.